All right. So switching gears into kind of our new treatment algorithm that we just established earlier this year. So in your opinion, where should all these new products, the biologics or small molecule JAKs, where should they be used? After dupilumab, ever before it?
Yeah, another good question, and I was actually a little bit upset with the FDA's labeling of the JAK inhibitors as second tier or second
Mhm.
line, so that they are actually labeled that way, that one has to start at least some other systemic beforehand. Now, on the positive side, it's not much of a barrier because a lot of patients have been on something before systemically. They've been on prednisone or methotrexate or Dupixent. Um, so it's a little bit of a barrier. But for example, in Europe, one could go right to a JAK inhibitor. They don't have that same kind of barrier. And so I actually like the ability to use what I want to use because every patient's different, every patient's
Mhm.
situation is different. I would like to use Dupixent, Adbry, Sabinco, and Rinvoq when I want without having to go through one or the other to get to the other. And usually when we see those steps, we call it step therapy, it's all financial driven through
Yeah.
the insurance companies. And it is not based on science. And so, requiring cyclosporin, I mean, it's just to try to save money. Or the insurance company has made a deal with one biologic company, and so they want everybody to do on that biologic first. Um, it's it's just taking the decision out of the hands of the physician and the shared decision making with the physician and the patient when insurance companies put those steps in. You have to do X, Y, and Z before you can do A. It's just not patient centered. It's just not the right thing to be done for patients. It's particularly bad in psoriasis. You
Mhm.
know, using all of the old, less effective, more dangerous drugs first, which is ridiculous to me, simply because they're cheaper.
Right. That would be the dream world to have it be patient focused and to pick whatever you want whenever you want it to be. But sadly, that's not where we are in the US. But so, how can brands kind of differentiate themselves so that they can grab some of that first line Dupixent share? Because right now we're seeing most of our patients, of course, for AD are on Dupixent or dupilumab. So
Right.
how are all these newer agents able to get some skin in the game?
Yeah. So in this case, unlike in psoriasis, it's actually not a bad first choice, right? It's actually, I keep saying Dupixent's a great drug because it is, and it's helped a lot of people. It's just not always the right first choice, is what I'm saying. So
Mm.
um, some people don't want to do shots, and they want to take a pill once a day, or they're teenagers. The teenagers love taking the JAK inhibitors. Uh, Single one pill once a day. They don't want to do shots. College students. Anyway, um, it basically, the reality of it is that each drug company with a new drug has to make their deals with the
Mhm.
payers. They have to go in front of the payers and justify um, the the um, the best they can with data to say, look, you need to put us on par with the other drugs and not behind them. And so it's not an easy thing, but each drug company kind of has to go through that, has to go through their case of why they should be on par with the other drugs and not behind them.
So, in what type of patient, because you're mentioning, you would want to just prescribe whatever agent to whomever. What type of patient would you say you would bypass Dupixent and then put them on an oral JAK instead?
Yeah, so I tell a story in these last few months about having the experience over the last several years as a clinical trialist of presenting two types of studies to my moderate to severe AD patients as they come in. So for many years, we had active ongoing enrollment for a JAK inhibitor study, and at the same time, active ongoing enrollment for a biologic study for AD. And the patients would come in and I would do the pros and cons thing. I would say the pros of JAK inhibitors and the cons, and then I go through the pros and cons of the biologics. And I ask my audiences when I'm telling this story, what do you think the percentage of people that have chose over the years, JAK inhibitor study versus biologic study? And I get all kinds of answers depending on my audience. And but the way I did it, in my experience, the answer was about 50-50. When I tried to present honestly pros and cons of each type of drug, I had about half of the people choosing the JAK inhibitor studies and about half choosing biologics. And I say it would come down to the ones choosing the biologics were probably younger. I'm sorry, the JAK inhibitors, probably younger, healthier, less worried about side effects, and in bad itch. And when I would say that the pill would probably control itch quicker, that was a key thing. I just want the thing that will take away my itch as soon as possible. And then the folks choosing the biologics was predominantly for safety, I would say, worried about those box warnings, and they just want a steady approach, something that would be good, but not necessarily have to worry about safety. So safety was kind of the key thing. Some people just don't worry about that. They just want the best, give me the best, and I don't really worry about, the side effects. And others are definitely worried about it and would go with the biologic route. So that's kind of been my experience. Younger, healthier people that want results real fast are going with the JAKs.